Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Monday, May 12th, 2025. Welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan. We're joining you from Snarful Solutions Group here in Sacramento.
Good to be here. Before we jump into the tech stuff, just a quick look around. Nationally, looks like heavy rain in the southeast, mid-Atlantic.
And critical fire weather up in the northern plains and upper Midwest.
Right. Different story there. Here in Sacramento, maybe a few morning showers, then mostly sunny, high around 68. Not bad.
Yeah, pretty mild. And for market watchers, last Friday, May 9th, the Dow closed at 412.49.38.
Okay.
And the S&P 500 ended the day at 5659.91.
Got it. Okay, so today on Connecting the Dots, we're going to tackle three tech stories that really caught our attention.
Yeah, they seem different on the surface, but maybe not so much underneath.
Exactly. We'll look at President Trump's trip to the Middle East, specifically the AI chip deals aspect.
Then there's that new AI image-to-video feature from Honor, the phone maker, powered by Google.
Right. And finally, the buzz about potential iPhone price hikes later this year.
So the plan is to kind of connect these dots, see how they relate to each other, and what it means for our understanding of tech and the world around us.
Sounds good. Where should we start? The Middle East trip.
Yeah, let's begin there. The whole AI chip angle with President Trump's visit.
Okay. So the core idea seems to be using the U.S. dominance in AI chip design, manufacturing, NVIDIA, AMD, using that as leverage.
Right. Leverage in deals with these oil-rich Middle Eastern countries. We're talking Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar.
And these nations, flush with cash from oil, they're now super interested in American AI chips. It's like the new valuable commodity.
The new digital oil, yeah. And they want these chips specifically for building these massive data centers.
Which you need to run the really powerful AI systems.
Exactly. That's the backbone. Now, they've got the money, they've got the energy for the data centers, but the bottleneck.
The bottleneck is getting the actual chips, the American-designed ones, and that needs a sign-off from the U.S. government.
Right. And reports suggest the previous administration, the Biden administration, was pretty cautious about okaying those kinds of sales.
Understandably, maybe. Concerns about tech transfer, geopolitics.
Sure. But it looks like the current Trump administration sees it differently. They seem to view these AI chip deals as a tool, really, a way to build stronger strategic ties.
Especially in the region where the president has, existing financial and business connections, it's using tech strength for diplomacy.
It really shows how intertwined technology is now with, everything. International relations, security.
Totally. And we're already hearing whispers, maybe more than whispers, about actual deals being discussed.
Yeah, involving the big U.S. tech players.
AMD, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, OpenAI. All those names are popping up in relation to negotiations happening during this trip. It's like a who's who of the AI world.
And if you're going to zoom out a bit, this whole push fits into a broader conversation happening in the U.S. tech industry.
About maintaining leadership in AI, right?
Exactly. We've heard tech executives telling the Senate Commerce Committee that real AI dominance means controlling the whole stack.
The AI technology stack, meaning everything from the chips themselves
all the way up to the software, the applications running on top. You can't just be good at one piece.
Right. Lisa Su, AMD's CEO, talked about needing excellence at every layer and needing government policies that actually support that.
Fostering innovation across the board.
And Sam Altman from OpenAI had an interesting take, too. He basically argued that if the world builds its AI using U.S. products,
that naturally creates influence for the U.S.
Yeah.
And maybe reduces security risks compared to, AI built on tech from elsewhere.
Kind of a better the devil you know argument, especially with something as potent as AI.
Yeah, it definitely brings up the whole global AI development picture and the potential risks involved, which leads to another point Altman made.
You mean the open source model, OpenAI releasing something this summer?
Exactly. How does that fit? Well, the idea seems to be if they make their tech more open, more available.
It encourages people globally to adopt the U.S. tech stack.
That seems to be the strategy. Use open source not just for collaboration, but to sort of cement U.S. leadership. Make sure AI development globally is built on a foundation they understand and trust to some degree.
Interesting. Setting the standard, basically. And this ties into the administration's other policies, too, right? Like focusing on domestic supply chains, manufacturing.
And that light touch regulation approach they talk about, it all kind of lines up with bolstering U.S. AI leadership.
Okay, so that first story really sets the stage. AI isn't just code, it's a major strategic asset on the world stage.
Absolutely. High stakes.
Now, let's pivot a bit. How is this advanced AI actually showing up in stuff we use every day?
Perfect segue. Story number 2. Honor, the Chinese smartphone maker. They're launching a new feature in their upcoming Honor 400 series. Debuts May 22nd.
Okay, and the feature is?
It uses AI to turn still images into short videos. Little animations, basically.
Okay. We've seen things like that before, but what's new here? Well, the interesting part for us is the engine behind it. It's powered by Google Cloud AI, specifically Google's VO2 model.
Google's VO2. Okay, so that's a pretty heavy hitter in the AI video generation space.
Yeah.
Integrating that directly into a phone is significant.
Yeah, it's more than just a simple filter. They gave an example like animating a picture of the Mona Lisa at the Louvre.
Right, bringing a static image to life.
And apparently it works on all sorts of images, regular photos, AI-generated art, even old pictures you've scanned.
And the key capability seems to be creating these short, maybe 5-second videos or moving photos while keeping the original style and structure intact.
That consistency piece is important. Generative AI sometimes struggles with that. Suggests VO2 is pretty sophisticated.
Definitely. So how might you actually use this day to day?
Well, maybe animating a nice macro shot of a flower you took, or a funny picture of your cat or dog.
Right, from your phone's gallery, presumably.
Exactly, and having it built in is convenient. You don't need a separate app.
Which often means dealing with costs or ads or, privacy questions about where your images are going.
Good point. The Google partnership might mean clearer policies, better privacy measures, hopefully.
Hopefully. No, there's a catch, sort of. Or a distinction, anyway.
Ah, yes. While Honor is giving you this image-to-video thing for free in the phone.
Getting direct access to VO2, like to type in text and make a video from scratch, that's different.
Right. That capability is currently locked behind Google's subscription service, Google One AI Premium.
Yeah, the one that includes Gemini Advanced costs about $20 a month.
So you get the image animation feature in the Honor phone, powered by VO2, but the full text-to-video power requires that Google subscription. Tiered access.
Makes sense. And the full VO2 model, what can it do? It's apparently capable of generating 8-second videos at 720p.
And Google says it understands real-world physics, human motion, produces lifelike scenes, fluid character movement.
Interesting specs. That 8-second 720p sounds quite similar to OpenAI's Sora model, doesn't it?
It does. So if you're into AI video generation, your choice might depend on whether you're more in the Google Gemini camp or the OpenAI ChatGPT camp.
And what else comes with those subscriptions? Yeah, it's about the ecosystem.
So this second story really shows AI getting baked right into our devices, new creative tools.
Yeah, moving from the lab or high-end software into consumer electronics pretty quickly. Okay, what's the third piece?
All right, story number 3. This one might hit closer to home for your wallet anyway. Reports that Apple is thinking about raising prices for the next iPhones this fall.
The annual iPhone price speculation. Always happens.
True. But this time, the market seems to be reacting positively. Apple's stock reportedly jumped like 7% on the news.
Wow. So investors think they can pull it off. That people will pay more.
Seems like it. The thinking is Apple plans to justify any hikes with, new features, maybe some design changes, adding value.
And they're apparently being quite strategic about why the price might go up. Reports suggest they really want to avoid blaming U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods.
Even though most iPhones are made in China, they don't want that perception.
Right. Frame it as paying for innovation, not for import taxes.
There might be another way they increase revenue without actually raising the base model price.
The upsell strategy. Yeah, I saw a note from Morgan Stanley suggesting that. Basically, push people towards the more expensive models.
How would they do that?
By maybe increasing the base storage on the higher end models.
Yeah.
Like maybe the entry-level Pro phone comes with more storage than last year's did.
Okay, like they did with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which started at a higher storage tier.
Exactly. So even if the starting price looks the same, more people end up buying a more expensive configuration, pushing up the average selling price overall.
Clever. Sneaky, maybe, but clever. Boosts revenue without the headline, iPhone prices are up.
It's one tactic. The analyst note mentioned others too, like maybe shifting more production out of China.
To India or Brazil, perhaps? To lessen the tariff impact long term?
Could be. Or maybe offering better financing deals, longer payment plans through carriers. Make the higher price tag feel less painful month to month.
Lots of possibilities. But of course, Apple hasn't said anything officially.
Nope. We'll likely have to wait until the usual September launch event to know for sure.
So this third story, it really brings together innovation, global trade stuff, and just plain old consumer pricing.
Yeah, even a giant like Apple has to juggle all these factors. It's complex.
And it shows the power of their brand, doesn't it? The confidence that people will pay a premium.
Definitely speaks to brand loyalty and perceived value. Okay, so let's try and tie these threads together.
Right. We talked about the U.S. using AI chip leadership as a strategic tool, especially in the Middle East.
Then we saw how advanced AI, like Google's VO2, is getting integrated into consumer devices like phones with that Honor feature.
And finally, the potential iPhone price hikes and Apple's strategies around perceived value versus external costs like tariffs.
So the connection seems to be, well, U.S. tech leadership is a big one. From the basic chips up through AI software and into the applications and devices we actually use.
Yeah, American companies are still very much at the forefront across that whole stack.
And these big tech trends, they're not just abstract things. They're influencing global politics, business strategy.
And they're showing up in the features on your phone and potentially in the price you pay for that phone.
It's all happening incredibly fast. This pace of innovation and the strategic weight of tech dominance, it affects way more than just the tech world. It hits international relations and it hits us individually.
For sure. So maybe something to chew on this week. As AI gets woven deeper into our gadgets and as nations use tech like bargaining chips, what other maybe unexpected ways will all this tech and geopolitical maneuvering change your daily life? The choices you make.
Oh, it's a lot to think about. Constantly shifting landscape.
Definitely. And on that note, remember, we are here to help here at Snarful. So reach out on our website if you have any more questions about this stuff or anything else tech related.
Thanks for tuning in to Connecting the Dots.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.